Today, we embark on a truly captivating and deeply philosophical deep dive into the very essence of what it means to be you. We're not just dissecting facts or analyzing research papers today. Instead, we're stepping inside a compelling, almost haunting narrative, drawn from a singular source that pushes the absolute boundaries of human understanding. Our mission, to explore humanity's relentless quest for meaning, for life, and even for immortality. We'll grapple with fundamental questions about consciousness, free will, our place in a universe that seems determined to remind us of our fleeting nature, and, well, whether true eternity is even possible.
Exactly. And what a journey this promises to be. The story isn't some dry academic text. It's a saga, really. We'll navigate through different timelines, witness incredibly poignant human struggles that, really resonate deeply. We'll meet ambitious creators driven by singular, sometimes unsettling visions, and ultimately confront some of the most profound existential riddles imaginable. It's all woven into this vivid, almost cinematic tapestry of narrative, brought to life with rich detail and emotional resonance as if you're experiencing it firsthand. You're about to hear a saga of humanity's deepest aspirations colliding head-on with its most profound fears.
Okay, let's unpack this then. To truly grasp the ambition and the sheer stakes of this extraordinary story, we first need to lay down the foundational blueprint of being, according to our source material. It immediately dives into a core concept, asking what two crucial elements are absolutely essential for a human to maintain self-consciousness.
Well, at its core, it seems to boil down to two inseparable pillars. First, you need cognition. And this isn't just about thinking. It's about a deep, undeniable awareness. It's the ability to recognize your physical body and your mental processes, your thoughts, your feelings, your memories as distinctly and uniquely yours. It's the capacity to acquire new information, form new memories, and engage in complex thought.
Right, the internal sense of me.
Exactly. Then, equally vital is perception. This is your connection to the external world, your ability to recognize and interpret information flowing in from your five senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Without these two working in a dynamic, continuous tandem, the very foundation of you as a conscious, aware individual, well, it begins to unravel.
So it's not enough to simply think you exist or even deduce it. You also have to perceive your existence and the world around you through your senses. This raises an immediate and fascinating paradox, doesn't it? If perception is so vital, what happens when those senses are manipulated, altered, or even entirely artificial, like some of the radical ideas in our story propose?
That's a crucial distinction, yeah. The source highlights a very important caveat. Not all of the five senses are necessarily required to maintain self-consciousness. You could, theoretically, lose your sight or your hearing and still be perfectly you, still fully self-aware.
Okay, that makes sense.
But, and this is where it becomes truly chilling, the complete, absolute absence of all senses, that would lead to a profound disengagement from the material world, a loss of free will interaction.
Which makes intuitive sense, right? If you can't see, hear, touch, taste, or smell anything, how do you even know the material world is there to interact with, let alone exert your will within it? Your perception of reality would just cease.
Precisely. And this leads us to a profound philosophical assertion. Our source explicitly quotes Descartes' timeless declaration, cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am.
Wow.
But then it pushes this thought experiment further. If all external sensory input is completely excluded, what truly remains?
Just pure thought.
Right. Only pure thought. But then the source makes this stark, almost terrifying assertion, one that completely upends our common understanding of consciousness. It states that it is impossible to maintain sanity with only thought due to mental limitations, eventually leading to the complete loss of self-consciousness.
Wow.
Yeah. This raises a deeply unsettling question for us to ponder as we embark on this deep dive. If thought alone isn't sufficient to sustain our sanity and our very self, what does that imply about our fundamental, undeniable need for continuous interaction and sensation from the world around us? It suggests that our very identity, our sanity, and our capacity for free will aren't just internal processes. They're inextricably intertwined with our physical, sensory connection to reality, that our being is, in fact, a dialogue between inner cognition and outer perception.
That's a powerful and profoundly unsettling thought. It really challenges the very notion of what constitutes existence, doesn't it? So, with that foundational blueprint of what it means to be you in mind, let's fast forward to AD 2045, where we encounter our first protagonist, Alberto Guija, a man grappling with these very questions in his own life. Okay, paint us a picture. Where do we find him? It's the quiet stillness of winter, right? The cold, crisp air seems to have settled deep into Alberto Guija's very bones. We find him, a solitary figure in AD 2045, letting out a soft, almost imperceptible sigh, a visible plume of white breath in the chilled air as he gently closes a book.
An old book.
Yeah, an old, well-worn volume. Its pages softened by countless readings, making a faint, comforting rustle, a sound almost swallowed by the hushed stillness of the room. He places it carefully on his desk, his fingers lingering on the cover for a moment, as if reluctant to break connection with the words he'd just consumed. Then, drawn by an unspoken yearning, he turns, his gaze drifting to the window.
And what's outside?
Outside, the world is just a symphony of winter white. Freshly fallen snow blankets, everything the rooftops, the bare branches of trees, the winding paths of the neighborhood. It muffles every sound, making the entire world outside feel hushed, serene, almost otherworldly. He leans in closer to the pane, reaching for a small folded handkerchief to meticulously wipe a steamy patch from the glass, creating a perfectly clear circle to gaze through.
And what does he see through that circle?
And what he sees is both intimately familiar and yet strangely distant. He can hear, faintly, the bright, joyful shouts of children playing in the snow, their laughter like sharp, crystalline bells against the quiet backdrop. A flash of vivid green catches his eye. His neighbor's dog, Frodo, a furry burst of energy, is bounding alongside them, a brilliantly green tennis ball firmly clasped in his mouth.
Oh, Frodo.
Right. Gia, from his window, couldn't possibly know that this was the very ball he'd given the neighbor's child last year, but the scene is just so full of vibrant, unburdened life. Then a child, sensing a presence, glances up towards his apartment window, a quick, curious gaze. And in a fleeting, almost comical moment of relatable human awkwardness, Viha stiffens slightly, pretending to be absorbed in some other distant part of the winter landscape, feigning utter disinterest. He lets out a quiet, a low internal murmur as he begins to sift through the complex world reflected in the book he just closed and within the churning landscape of his own mind.
And that book he just set aside, it's steeped in the profound and often unsettling philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, particularly his stark and famous proclamation, "God is dead." This wasn't a literal statement, of course, about a divine being ceasing to exist. It was deeply symbolic.
What did it symbolize for Nietzsche?
Well, for Nietzsche, it signified the crumbling of all absolute values, the loss of the external divine moral compass that humanity had anchored itself to for millennia. With that compass gone, it led, in Nietzsche's view, to the arrival of nihilism, where meaning itself seemed to evaporate, leaving humanity adrift in a sea of purposelessness.
A pretty bleak outlook.
It can seem that way. But Nietzsche wasn't just observing this decline, he was warning humanity of this very descent into a meaningless existence. His radical prescription for overcoming this nihilism wasn't despair, though. It was a powerful, defiant embrace of life, a proactive creation of meaning from within. He called for an attitude of life affirmation, maintaining a sublime self-respect, even in dire circumstances. This, for him, was the path to the Superman. Not a literal superhero, mind you, but an individual who creates their own values, their own purpose, and their own meaning in a world stripped of inherent ones.
Okay, so forging your own path.
Exactly. And Nietzsche, with his piercing observations of the human condition, saw a stark reality around him. People desperately clinging to life, even as others, consumed by suffering or weariness, wished for death. He also observed those living without communication or a clear sense of self, being kept alive by others, and the quiet, often heroic caregivers by their side. He recognized that everyone in this vast societal tapestry, from the most vibrant child to the most infirm patient, was ultimately destined to disappear from the world, consumed by the relentless march of time.
And Giha, reflecting on his own past and his earliest memories, carried these observations, these philosophical burdens, close to his heart. He remembered a younger self, full of innocent conviction, who truly believed he walked a path guided by God, every step divinely ordained.
But that changed.
But as time wore on, as he aged, as life's complexities deepened, questions began to sprout, then grow into this undeniable, overwhelming forest of doubt within his mind. The stark, haunting reality that had slowly, relentlessly dawned upon him was that no omnipotent being appeared to resolve his doubts. The serene comfort of certainty, the guiding hand of divine prophecy, had simply vanished, leaving him to walk a path haunted by the loss of God and a vanished heaven.
That sounds incredibly lonely.
It does, and Nietzsche's observation that everyone was equal in the face of death resonated deeply with Giha, but it filled him with a profound sense of injustice. He found it profoundly unfair. Why should a life lived with purpose, with striving, with immense potential, simply cease? He longed for a world where those with unique abilities, those who strive to contribute profoundly to society and to the happiness of others, could extend their youth and health indefinitely, their contributions unfettered by mortality. He yearned for a guide, a definitive presence to direct his every step, especially after what he perceived as the end of divine prophecy had left humanity without any certain future, adrift in a cosmos that seemed indifferent to its fate.
It's a truly poignant reflection on the enduring human need for purpose and direction, isn't it? A need that intensifies when traditional anchors are lost. And as Giha grapples with these colossal questions, he recalls a quiet wisdom from his own past, a voice that echoes in his mind with profound clarity. The words of his brother.
What did his brother say?
No one can live your life for you, his brother had told him. Make choices for yourself. What's already happened can't be changed, but let this moment be a catalyst for imagining countless paths your life can take. This counsel, given in his youth, resonates now with a profound, almost desperate urgency as he faces his own mortality and the seemingly immutable laws of existence.
So he's remembering this advice.
Yes, and as Giha closes his eyes in a silent, heartfelt prayer, his mind is not quiet. It's a vibrant, churning whirl of memory, hope, and desperate thought. Oh, omnipotent being, he pleads internally, his voice raw with emotion. If you can hear my words, grant me the ability to distinguish between what is truly changeable and what is utterly unchangeable. For the tasks I can achieve, grant me the courage, the unwavering will to move forward. And if even that is impossible, if my path is not truly my own, then grant me a destiny that guides me to the right answer, whatever that may be.
It's like he's bargaining.
In a way. And our source gives us this fascinating, almost clinical glimpse into the physicality of this intense moment. As he closes his eyes, his brain activates, neurons firing rapidly in his frontal cortex, creating a complex, intricate chain of thought and memory. Generalized visual records from imperfect, often fragmented memories trigger dynamic changes in the activity patterns of his visual cortex, even with his eyes shut, painting internal landscapes of his past and his fervent hopes for the future. It's a vivid illustration of his entire being wrestling with these colossal questions of fate and free will.
And as he reflects further, Giha considers the myriad of different cultural and individual beliefs about the afterlife. He ponders the notion that humans return to Earth after death, or that humans turn to ash after death, or perhaps that humans return to God's embrace after death, or even that humans are reborn in a new form after death.
So all the usual suspects in a way.
Pretty much. While distinct in their intricate details, these deeply ingrained hopes and beliefs were, to Giha, generally interesting. They offered different pathways for the human spirit beyond the veil. But his perspective then broadened, extending far beyond the confines of Earth. He began to notice that this cyclical nature of birth and extinction, of creation and disappearance, applied not just to individual lives or even to all life on Earth, but to the cosmos itself on a truly staggering scale.
How so?
Well, from the ancient practice of naming stars, a seemingly eternal act of human reverence, humanity had over many generations and countless scientific discoveries come to a stark, humbling realization. What we once thought were eternally burning, ever-present stars were actually traces of light reflected from stars that existed in the past, their light having traveled across unimaginable distances, not necessarily still present in this moment.
So ghosts of light.
Essentially. And with that, the grand, almost terrifying truth set in. Even entire planets and colossal stars, including our very own vibrant Earth, are subject to functional loss and death. They, too, have a finite lifespan. When we connect this deeply to the bigger picture, it raises an incredibly important question, one that Giha wrestled with and that still echoes through the vastness of time. Does humanity's inherent, almost desperate desire for permanence, for a lasting legacy, fundamentally conflict with the universe's relentless, unyielding cycle of impermanence, of creation, and inevitable dissolution? This deep, ingrained yearning for longevity, for an escape from the ultimate silence of death, isn't a new phenomenon, though. It's a timeless human struggle. Giha picks up another book, it's cover-worn, this one recounting a vivid historical anecdote about an ancient emperor.
Oh, which one?
The source doesn't name him, but in a desperate, almost tragically naive defiance of death, this emperor famously drank mercury. He genuinely believed that because mercury itself seemed unchanging, perpetually liquid, and seemingly incorruptible over time, it would grant him immortality.
Wow, that's bold and incredibly wrong.
Absolutely. Giha contemplates the sheer, unwavering conviction of that emperor, especially in an era where, ironically, servants tasted food for poison first. A stark contrast to simply downing a toxic, life-ending liquid oneself. He muses on how, despite the vast differences in time and technology, that Emperor's era having an average lifespan of a mere 40 years, the core human experience remains startlingly the same.
Which was?
People clinging to life, others weary and suffering, wishing for death, and then those simply forced to accept their fate and the cycle of life and death.
The same struggles, different centuries.
Exactly. The book he's reading then seamlessly transitions, concluding by discussing contemporary creative ideas and cutting-edge technologies for immortality that are being explored in his own time, like cryonics and mind uploading. The modern attempts to achieve that ancient dream.
But they haven't worked right.
Right. And just to reinforce how absolutely vital this core concept is to the entire narrative and to Giha's desperate quest, the source immediately reiterates the two core elements for self-consciousness we discussed at the very beginning of our deep dive: cognition and perception.
Mm-hmm.
It then repeats that chilling thought alone paradox, cementing its central, inescapable importance to Giha's monumental personal crusade.
And this brings us right to Giha's personal, almost fierce crusade against aging and death. He looks at these existing solutions, the cutting-edge technologies of his time, with a dismissive air, his resolve hardening, a glint of defiance in his eye. He thinks, I will never accept death by aging like others.
So he rejects the current options.
Completely. Mind uploading. That's not truly yourself. That's just a copy, a digital echo, not the original consciousness. Cryonics. He dismisses it outright. There are no successfully restored humans, and the human brain isn't designed to shut down and reboot like a computer. It's too complex, too fragile.
Okay, this is really interesting. He's not just seeking a solution.
No, he's actively, stubbornly rejecting all existing ones, driven by this deeply personal, almost arrogant belief that his consciousness, his unique, singular self, must endure, not just be copied, delayed, or put on pause. He seeks a true, unbroken continuity of being.
And as he's lost in these thoughts, his mind racing with possibilities and rejections, a familiar, crisp ding sounds from the computer, the sharp digital chime of an incoming email.
Ah, the email?
Yes. It's a reply Guy had clearly been anticipating, because he visibly swallows hard, his jaw tightening, and immediately clicks it open, his heart pounding in his chest. The sender, Wang Chuan, a director from Aptus Endocrine Co., the very company Giha had inquired with about his audacious in vitro brain-computer interface idea, its theoretical basis, feasibility, and most importantly to him, a potential partnership that could bring his vision to life.
Okay, so this could be it. What does she say?
Well, Wang Chuan's reply is detailed, precise, almost clinically so. She acknowledges Giha as a freelance software engineer interested in medical product development, and quite diplomatically commends his clear career goals. She explains Aptus's core focus, developing brain hormone promotion technology for dissociative and neurological disorders, citing examples like stimulating appetite in anorexia patients.
So, related, but not quite his grand vision.
Not really. Wang Chuan then shares her own professional experience as a project manager, working on non-invasive ion stimulation of the pituitary gland for patient-controlled hormone production. Fascinating field, but again, not Giza's ambition. And then she delivers her sobering assessment. Giha, in her professional opinion, can only contribute to parts of his proposed comprehensive technology.
Ouch.
Yeah. She suggests institutions like Neuralink for such monumental, overarching problems, highlighting the intensely interdisciplinary nature of his idea, something that would require a confluence of biology, physics, and advanced engineering, far beyond any single individual's capacity. Her advice for Giha is stark, direct, and perhaps unintentionally crushing. Either educate himself broadly across these diverse fields for his later ambitious career goals, or specialize in one captivating aspect that aligns with existing research.
Sort of a stay-in-your-lane message.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She explains her own journey to a director role by stating her biggest challenge was uniting diverse specialists for Aptus's specific objectives, subtly implying that Giha's vision is too broad, too siloed for her company. Giha scrolls frantically to the very bottom of the email, his eyes scanning for some glimmer of hope, some encouragement for his grand project. But there's nothing.
No partnership, no funding.
No supportive answer for his partnership, no offer of funding, no mention of his donation proposal, nothing. He leans back in his chair, a long, drawn-out sigh escaping his lips, a white plume of breath aimed at the ceiling fan as his shoulders slump. Damn it, he thinks, his voice a whisper in the quiet room. No progress at all. And she didn't even mention my project idea or feasibility. No questions either. Did she even read it? He watches his sigh dissipate into the slow, silent rotations of the fan, a metaphor for his vanishing hopes.
Wow. That's a crushing blow, isn't it? A dismissal that would deter most people. But Giha, driven by this almost manic resolve, quickly turns his attention back to his personal battlefield, the wall opposite his computer monitor.
The wall with the post-its.
Exactly. It's not just a wall, it's a testament to his relentless intellectual pursuit, covered in a meticulously organized array of post-it notes. He's divided them into 3 distinct sections, a visual representation of his fragmented yet focused thoughts. On the left, he's listed the intricate prerequisites for his grand idea, each confirmed fact from his extensive encyclopedic reading marked with a triumphant checkmark. He even pulls one off, its adhesive losing grip, reading it aloud internally, as if rehearsing a pitch to himself. System for real-time adjustment of hormone ratios in solutions continuously infused into brain blood vessels based on user digital avatar's behavior and status. Can I seek insight on this?
This isn't just about what he knows. It's about what he needs to know, the questions he yearns to ask.
And the other sections.
On the right side of the wall, he's diligently cataloged scientifically known facts, cold, hard data he's uncovered. For instance, one note reads, "No evidence of telomere decrease due to aging between infants and adults in neurons." It's a point of hope for his project, a scientific detail that suggests neural longevity.
But what's truly fascinating here, what illuminates Geha's rigorous, almost obsessive self-scrutiny, is how he meticulously builds his arguments and, perhaps more importantly, challenges his own hopeful biases. Right in the middle, precisely at the same height as that note about telomeres, is his own counter-argument, or a persistent doubt, scrawled in a different color ink. Telomere decrease does not necessarily symbolize all of aging.
So he's arguing with himself on the wall.
Essentially, yes. This wall isn't just a collection of facts, it's a living, breathing diagram of Geha's relentless, almost agonizing intellectual pursuit, a battleground where hope and scientific rigor constantly clash within his own brilliant mind.
He sits back down at his computer, his fingers flying across the keyboard, opening a project folder. But this isn't just any folder filled with mundane files. It's unique, almost sacred, because it contains no lines of code, no algorithms, only a single, incredibly long, meticulously detailed document.
What's it called?
Its title, stark and ambitious, reads Self-Preservation Device, or, more fully, Brain-Computer Simulation for Self-Preservation using Nutrients and Artificial Senses. Biological Cognition and Perception Storage System.
That's quite a title.
It is, and the target user profile for this unprecedented system. Individuals with healthy brains but nearing the inevitable precipice of death in a clinically controlled environment, perhaps a hospital or a specialized facility. The document then proceeds to detail no less than 8 essential steps, a blueprint for true physical eternity.
Okay, let's break this down. Step 1.
Step 1. Brain isolation and preservation. This is the audacious beginning. Before irreversible brain death occurs, the brain itself, along with its intricate central nervous system and all major blood vessels, are surgically separated from the non-functional dying body. These vital components are then carefully, almost reverently, stored in a specialized container. This container maintains a real-time optimized hydrostatic pressure, mimicking the natural environment of the skull, and circulates a continuously refreshed cerebrospinal fluid substitute, providing a perfect life-sustaining medium.
Wow, okay. And this happens while keeping it alive.
Exactly. Crucially, the document emphasizes that steps 2 and 3, the continuous biopower supply and the establishment of conscious senses, must be maintained during this delicate surgical separation, ensuring no moment of lost consciousness.
Right. Step 2, biopower.
Step 2, biopower supply. Think of it as the ultimate personalized life support system, not for a body, but for a standalone brain. This involves continuously supplying and circulating a meticulously crafted artificial blood, a real-time adjustable cocktail of hormones, drugs, and other vital energies. The composition of this biopower solution isn't static. It needs to be dynamically adjusted in real time, based on the brain's metabolic needs and the user's perceived experiences in their new digital reality, ensuring every neuron fires perfectly, continuously.
A constant feed. Okay, step 3, the digital world.
Step 3, digital avatar and conscious senses. This is where the user's new reality begins to take shape. The user's isolated brain controls a digital avatar within a meticulously crafted digital world, complete with realistic physics and an immersive first-person perspective. The sensations that this avatar experiences in its digital environment, the warmth of a simulated sun, the crispness of a digital breeze, the taste of virtual food, the touch of a digital hand are not merely simulated.
They're directly injected.
Yes, they are perfectly synchronized with artificial senses, directly injected into the user's brainstem via incredibly precise neuromechanical interfaces. This direct neural input is what the document defines as conscious senses, creating an utterly seamless, believable, virtual existence.
Incredible. Step 4 must be related. Unconscious senses.
Step 4. Unconscious senses and embodiment. This is the subtle yet utterly vital layer that truly grounds the user's consciousness within their digital form. Even though the user's physical body no longer exists in the real world, artificial sensory inputs are continuously fed into the brain to make it perceive that involuntary bodily functions, like a racing heart rate during a thrilling digital encounter, or increased blood flow to muscles in response to a perceived physical exertion, are still actively occurring within its digital avatar.
Those feels real physically.
Exactly. This is defined as unconscious senses. This sophisticated mimicry is absolutely vital for the user's brain to truly believe that the digital avatar is its body, ensuring a complete and unshakable sense of self-presence and embodiment within the virtual realm, preventing dissociation or a feeling of phantom limbs.
Makes sense. Step 5. Communication.
Step 5. Communication systems. To ensure a full integrated existence, 2 distinct and robust communication systems need to be established. First, a system for users to communicate with the real world, allowing interaction with family, friends, and the external research team. Second, an equally sophisticated system for users to communicate with each other within the digital world, fostering a new form of community and social interaction among the preserved consciousnesses.
A virtual society. Okay, step 6. Robots.
Step 6. Robot control and self-sustenance. This goes beyond mere virtual existence. The blueprint calls for the creation of multifunctional robots that users can control wirelessly from within their digital world. This allows them to exert agency in the real world, interacting with objects, performing tasks, or even assisting in the maintenance of their own systems.
So they can interact with the physical world.
Yes. The document also considers the profound possibility of educating users to actively maintain their self-identity within the real world through this robotic system, hinting at an even deeper integration, blurring the lines between digital consciousness and tangible physical interaction.
Mind-blowing. All right, step 7. Regeneration. This sounds huge.
Step 7. Physical regeneration and reverse aging. And this is where the truly revolutionary ambition lies. While the system diligently maintains the user's self-consciousness within the digital realm, the brain itself, the biological core, is used as a base, a biological blueprint, to regenerate entirely new bone, skin, major organs, and all past body parts.
Growing a new body from the brain.
That's the idea. This isn't just about maintenance, it's about complete restoration. Specialized drugs would be continuously supplied to actively prevent any brain shrinkage due to aging. Furthermore, artificial senses are ingeniously used to make the user perceive themselves as young and vibrant in the digital world, which intended, through the brain's powerful neuroplasticity, to trigger neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells, and actively reverse brain aging, creating a self-reinforcing loop of rejuvenation.
So your avatar's youth keeps your brain young, which helps rebuild your body. Amazing. And the last step, disconnection.
And finally, an unnumbered yet implied 8th step, when the system's initial purpose of restoration is fulfilled. Disconnection. When the regenerated body is deemed robust enough, perfectly healthy, and fully functioning again, presumably until it ages once more and the cycle might need to be repeated, the user is seamlessly separated from the system, returning to a renewed physical existence in the real world.
Back in the real world, in a new body.
Reading through this extraordinary, meticulously detailed blueprint, Giha's resolve is absolute, a fierce fire reignited within him. I need to revise it from the beginning, he thinks, his fingers already itching to refine, to perfect. This intro isn't enough to capture attention. He wants it more realistically, more detailed, crafted with such precision and emotional resonance that it cannot be dismissed. He wants to inspire others, to make them wonder, what if this is truly possible?
He needs buy-in.
Definitely. He dreams of countless animal experiments, the meticulous research that would be needed, acknowledging the impossibly vast and diverse range of expertise required, knowing with a clear, sobering clarity that he cannot achieve this alone. He envisions many experts gathering to discuss this problem, a scientific symposium dedicated solely to his vision. He even considers the economic, ethical, and moral aspects, the sheer unimaginable complexity of achieving all these conditions simultaneously.
But that complexity is what drives him.
Exactly. Yet it is precisely this challenge of the impossible that, ironically, gives his life purpose, a monumental goal to strive for in a world stripped of divine certainty.
Quite the contrast to what we see next.
Now, let's shift gears completely. While Giha, in the year 2045, dreams of engineering eternity, driven by a profound, almost desperate need to transcend human limitations, our source reminds us of the very immediate, challenging realities of human frailty and the quiet, enduring suffering he seeks to overcome. We transition to another corner of 80-20-45 to witness a different, yet equally vital facet of human existence. We meet Nurse Kang Soo-yeon.
Ah, Suya.
She observes Mr. Martins, an Alzheimer's patient, with a quiet, compassionate intensity. His vision is blurry, unfocused, and he stares blankly at his wrinkled hand, clutching a spoon awkwardly between his index and middle fingers, supported by his thumb. The spoon, tilted at a 30-degree angle, drips potato soup, a small, continuous stream, onto his pristine white blanket. He just stares, unseeing.
Lost in his own world.
Completely.
Yeah.
Miss Martins, are you all right? Nurse Soo-yeon asks gently, her voice soft but clear, standing right beside him. No response. Mr. Martins, who was admitted to the dementia ward 6 months prior due to severe Alzheimer's, simply continues to gaze at the soup dripping from his spoon, lost in a world inaccessible to her. Soo-yeon, without a word, her movements practiced and gentle, pulls a disinfected tissue from her pocket, carefully wipes the potato soup from his lower extremities, then discreetly discards the tissue.
Just quiet care.
Exactly. As she performs this quiet act of care, a faint, small moan escapes Mr. Martins. A sound of discomfort and a telltale odor signals that his diaper is soiled, requiring a change. Mrs. Martins, a constant weary presence by his side since his admission, politely asks Nurse Soo-yeon to clear the food tray. Then, with a practiced, resigned motion, she pulls the curtain around his bed for privacy, beginning the quiet, intimate, and often heartbreaking act of personal care.
It's a stark reality check.
It really is. This scene, steeped in sensory details, the blurry vision, the telltale smell, the quiet sound spotlights, the raw, emotional core of caregiving, and the quiet dignity found even in profound decline.
And Nurse Soo-yeon's day, like so many in her profession, unfolds with a demanding, familiar rhythm. After attending to Mr. Martins, she moves swiftly and efficiently, her mind already shifting gears. She documents biomarker records, meticulously noting special observations, including Mr. Martin's unresponsiveness to her question in his digital chart. She attends rounds with doctors, assists with diagnoses, treatments, and therapies across the ward. Her work is a constant dance between the immediate physical demands of caregiving, the careful analytical attention required for precise documentation, and the empathetic connection she attempts to forge with each patient, even those who can no longer respond.
As Nurse Soo-yeon is diligently entering her notes, the soft clack of her keyboard filling the quiet nurse's station, a steaming black coffee in a paper cup appears next to her on the desk.
Ah, a break.
A brief one. She pauses, her fingers hovering over the keys, and looks up, asking her colleague, Nurse Ronald, if it's for her. He confirms with a casual,
I guess so.
She picks it up, feeling the comforting warmth radiating through the thin paper, and takes a grateful sip. What do you mean, I guess so? She asks, a hint of playful exasperation in her voice.
He's being funny.
Trying to be. And Ronald, with a humorous glint in his eye, leaning against the counter, explains, well, I guess I was trying to empathize with the patients, you know. My memory's not what it used to be. I made the first coffee, completely forgot about it sitting there, and then had to make a second one for myself. Soo-yeon, never one to let a playful jab pass, sets her cup down and quips, could you forget something on purpose like that? I mean, you're usually so meticulous.
Calling him out.
Exactly. He laughs, acknowledging she has a point.
Yeah.
Anyway, he continues, waving a dismissive hand, I don't get much of a caffeine buzz these days, but I truly can't afford to lose sleep tonight, knowing I'm back on duty tomorrow. I was carrying 2 cups, one for me, one for my future self, and I saw someone working so incredibly hard, so focused, and it just felt like their burdens weighed on my own hands. So I just, without thinking, put one down, and now you're about to drink it, so it worked out.
Soo-yeon playfully retorts, a small smile playing on her lips. Oh, really? Just now you said it was for me, didn't you? A spontaneous act of generosity, or a clever way to get rid of an extra coffee. She takes another sip of the still warm coffee, enjoying the moment of camaraderie. You know, she teases further, you're assigned as a cognitive assessment specialist assistant, right? And maybe you should get your memory checked. It might be good for your empathy, Ronald.
He just shrugs it off.
Yeah, Ronald just shrugs, unbothered. No need. I took an IQ test last week, got a 150. Pretty sure my memory's fine. Soo-yeon chuckles, shaking her head. I know your forgetfulness is an act, part of your comedy routine to lighten the mood around here. What I'm concerned about is whether that cognitive assessment will reveal a lack of empathy, a data point to show whether others find your jokes quite as funny as you do.
Ooh, sharp.
It is. Ronald's expression softens then, turning serious, the humor fading. It's fine, he says, his voice losing its playful edge. But you mentioned to other colleagues, didn't you, about Mr. Martens's continuous refusal to eat, wondering if it was a reflection of your own inadequacy as a nurse.
So he heard her concerns.
Suyeon admits, her gaze dropping slightly. A little. It feels like a failure. Ronald quickly reassures her, stepping closer. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely not your fault, Suyeon. You're doing everything right. But Suyeon shakes her head, gently denying his comfort, a fierce, quiet determination in her eyes. I'm sorry, but you don't need to decide that for me. I've decided to hold on to that glimmer of possibility that I can still do something, that there's always a possibility for more.
She won't give up.
No. Ronald simply says, okay, have it your way, acknowledging her resolve without further argument. Just then, his phone buzzes a message from a specialist calling him to duty.
Back to work.
You're busy too, Suyeon observes, acknowledging the relentless demands of their profession. Who isn't busy? Ronald replies, finishing his now cold coffee in one gulp, the last drops bitter, then tosses the paper cup into the trash with a sigh and heads off to his next task. Suyeon takes another final sip of her still warm coffee, drawing comfort from its warmth, and returns to her paperwork, the quiet heroism of everyday care continuing, a stark contrast to Gia's grand, audacious dreams of eternity.
15 years melt away like snow in the sun, transforming the quiet desperation of 2045 into the buzzing anticipation of AD 2060. The scene shifts dramatically, almost theatrically, to the Aptus endocrine cum in sunny California on a day pulsating with barely contained excitement.
The big day.
It's the grand unveiling, the culmination of 15 years of relentless, groundbreaking research. Doctor presentation of Project Eternity's final prototype. The air practically crackles with energy, a palpable buzz of expectation as the world waits to witness a revolution.
And who is Dr. Giga? We assume it's Giha, right, though anonymized.
His colleague, the effusive Dr. David Marcus, approaches him from the throng of reporters and eager investors, clapping him heartily on the back, almost too enthusiastically. Dr. S responds with a calculated, witty retort, a playful misquotation from the renowned historian Edward Gibbon, a subtle nod to his classical education. Oh, am I not flattered, Dr. Marcus? But you know what Edward Gibbon said? The winds and waves are always on the side of the ablest engineer.
Engineer, not navigators.
Right. Marcus, ever the scholar, corrects him good-naturedly, a smile playing on his lips. You mean navigators, and are you not indeed both? Well, let us forget the volition upon ourselves and feast on your birthday. Here is to Dr. Davy and Project Eternity. Colleagues and enthusiastic supporters raise their glasses, filled with the latest low-calorie beer, some of it splashing down onto Dr. Derry's immaculately tailored suit. But he doesn't mind. He makes a quick, almost detached internal correction. It's not pressure he feels in this moment of triumph, but something else entirely. Perhaps a sense of profound, almost cynical detachment from the very world he's about to change.
Interesting. Very calculated.
It immediately sets a tone of calculated showmanship and a somewhat aloof, almost world-weary personality for our architect of eternity.
And his journey to this monumental moment is truly fascinating, a testament to ambition and unwavering focus. 20 years prior, immediately after graduating from Castali University with both bachelor's and master's degrees, Dr. David joined Aptus Endocrine Co. as an intern.
Started at the bottom.
Pretty much. He worked tirelessly, a shadow supporting brilliant doctors and PhDs, often clocking grueling hours. He even recalls Frank, one of his demanding bosses, calling for 5 late nights a week, a schedule that would break most. Aptus, impressed by his quiet brilliance, asked him why he chose their company and, more importantly, what groundbreaking research he intended to pursue. He gave a carefully crafted, polished answer designed to appeal to their corporate vision.
But internally,
his true motivation, the relentless engine driving him, was to research the life of humanity and its solutions, a thorny path no one dared walk, a challenge too immense for anyone else. He was drawn to the impossible.
And he told the board this.
His boldness wasn't confined to internal thoughts. It continued into his decisive interview with the board of directors. His declaration was simple, yet delivered with an almost magnetic impact, a quiet certainty that brooked no argument. I wish to conduct a study on eternity. There is everything I need here. Future, constant investment, and trustworthy coworkers. I need this. And gentlemen, you need me.
Wow. Confident.
Extremely. His pitch wasn't just audacious, it was strategically brilliant. It worked because Aptus hadn't yet ventured into eternity research in the conventional sense, unlike other companies pursuing common cryonics or stem cell studies. As he muses, reflecting on his cunning, competition isn't doing the same thing faster, but doing different things differently.
Finding his niche.
Exactly. He paused, letting the profound implications of his statement hang in the air, then delivered his final decisive quote, drawing from Bernard Werber's philosophical novel, Papillon. Eve Kramer said that the only hope for mankind is to escape Earth and find a new home. Well, I am here to declare that, once for all, the only hope for mankind is to escape within mankind.
Escape within. Powerful framing.
It was his strategic differentiator, his bold, almost messianic promise of an internal salvation, a revolution of consciousness.
Now the stage is absolutely set. Doctor stands alone on a vast, minimalist stage, bathed in a brilliant, isolating spotlight. The cavernous auditorium packed to capacity with thousands of eager faces, a sea of hushed anticipation.
The big moment.
He holds a crisp, almost pristine script in his left hand, the result of countless all-nighters, ready to perform the greatest unveiling of his life. A massive screen descends silently onto the stage, its surface dark and expectant, and next to it, shrouded by a thick, opaque tent, stands the fruit of Project Eternity, the H1 prototype. The moment feels less like a scientific presentation and more like a carefully choreographed theatrical debut. The host for the event introduces him with a dramatic flourish. Now, the protagonist of the night, the visionary who will redefine humanity.
The pressure must be immense.
You would think. Doctor steps up to the podium, his posture radiating a calm authority. He wants to ensure absolute silence to command every shred of attention in the room. He simply utters a single soft syllable. And to his mild surprise, the residual cheering and applause dies down instantly, replaced by a profound, expectant quiet.
Just like that.
Just like that. He then just smiles at the audience, a calculated, almost imperceptible smirk playing on his lips. After a few seconds, letting the silence build, he performs a calculated cough, 2 deliberate, precise little hacks before reaching for the remote, advancing the slides on the massive screen. The translators, poised for a global audience, are ready to convey his every word. He begins his acknowledgments, a long list that unfolds like a veritable who's who of scientific collaboration.
Who does he thank?
Dr. David Marcus and Dr. Ronald Trumplin from biotechnology, Dr. John Martins and Dr. Reynold Roscharan from chemical neurology, Dr. Hakasi Maeshiro, Dr. Su-Yan Kang. Wait, Nurse Su-Yan Kang.
It says Dr. Su-Yan Kang here. 15 years is a long time. Maybe she pursued further studies, or it's just how the source lists her in this context.
Interesting. Okay, and Dr. John Hesselt for design. He thanks John McKenna Engineer and Connor Voice Engineer from Oculus and Valve for their pioneering work in virtual and augmented reality perception. He even makes a special mention of the 94-year-old Andrew Wiles, playfully codenamed The Frost, who mastered everything from Fermat, preferring still to be called a scholar.
Wow, Andrew Wiles.
Apparently involved. And finally, Sarah Archibald and Wang Chun from the operations and management team, their faces and career highlights flashing across the giant screen. Some of them surely among those cheering loudly in the audience, unaware of their role in this grand, unfolding, and perhaps morally ambiguous vision.
Wang Chun, the one who initially dismissed his idea. Irony. He then dives into the heart of the matter, unveiling Project Eternity, a study, as he boldly declares, focused entirely on human eternal life and immortality. He recounts the specific catalyst for this monumental endeavor, the spark that ignited his lifelong obsession.
What was it?
Back in his college days, a seemingly small scientific achievement had captivated his imagination. A research team managed to keep mouse brain tissue active and viable for over a month in an in vitro environment. He posed a profound, almost revolutionary question to himself. What if this technology, initially meant for dissection and temporary study, was specialized solely for long-term brain sustenance? What if science itself, with all its vast resources and brilliant minds, advanced with that singular goal in mind, the perpetual preservation of consciousness?
The audience must have been stunned.
Absolutely. Our source notes they fall into a stunned, absolute silence, processing the sheer magnitude of this thought, adjusting their minds to the almost unthinkable gravity of his proposal.
So how did he get from mouse brains to this?
His initial idea, as he explains to the now captivated audience, a mechanical and bioengineer by training, was surprisingly grounded in a simpler, more immediate human need, restoring perfect vision for the blind. His first concept was elegantly simple. To copy the electrical signals from a healthy eye, say, one viewing the breathtaking Grand Canyon, and then precisely inject those signals directly into a blind person's neural circuit.
A blind person would see it.
Theoretically, yes. The audience, our source tells us, correctly deduces the outcome, a collective gasp echoing through the hall. The blind person's brain would then perceive the intricate, majestic image of the Grand Canyon, even without their physical eyes. This, he explains, was the crucial first step. The simplest theoretical foundation, a proof of concept for manipulating sensory input.
Okay, a bridge to the bigger idea.
Exactly. But this simple idea of a neural bridge, this restoration of sight, inexorably led to a far grander conclusion, a vision of an ultimate world within a world. He meticulously breaks it down for the audience, step by visionary step. Imagine a carefully formulated chemical fluid designed to keep the brain and nerves perpetually activated and nourished. Then, the capability for perfect, non-damaging surgical extraction of the brain and its associated nerves from the living body. Next, the collection of comprehensive, unimaginable amounts of data on every conceivable human movement, every nuance of interaction.
Building the matrix, essentially.
In a sense. And finally, a fully self-managed cyberspace, a vast network of servers, intricate software, and cutting-edge technology designed to seamlessly handle and reproduce all this data, creating an entirely new self-contained reality. This, he concludes, leads to the critical, mind-bending question he poses to the audience. What if all this happens in an artificially programmed world within a world created entirely by humanity? And what if that isolated brain is then perpetually managed from the outside world to live eternally?
The auditorium falls silent once more, a collective intake of breath, absorbing the sheer, almost sacrilegious scale of the concept.
Dr. Koo, sensing that some might be lost in the technical grandeur, simplifies his vision with powerful clarity. Simply put, it's perpetual management in a cyberspace where all senses, feeling, hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, can be perfectly reproduced. Every nuanced sensation, even the subtle trembling of everyone's heartbeats at this very moment, could be replicated and experienced within this new reality.
So a perfect simulation.
That's the promise. He then introduces his nomenclature for this dual existence. Alpha, the real, tangible world where the audience stands, and beta, the world within a world, the digital eternity. He states, with a chilling matter-of-factness, that alpha can manage beta, creating an entirely new, potentially lucrative business for specialized managers. And this beta world, he promises, will be utterly indistinguishable from alpha, perhaps even better, offering users eternal youth, freedom from physical ailments, and eternally young, digitally agile avatars.
After allowing the audience sufficient time for this profound, almost terrifying thought to sink in, for the implications of a world within a world to truly resonate, Dr. Brittley performs a final, calculated piece of showmanship, building the tension to a dramatic climax.
The reveal.
Yes, he dramatically unveils H1, the tangible culmination of Project Eternity, pulling back the thick, opaque tent with a flourish that feels less like a reveal and more like a magic trick. And the visual is shocking, almost viscerally so, described by our source as a coffin for the living.
A coffin for the living. Chilling description.
It's a transparent liquid-sealed container, its surface agitated by persistent bubbles, a shimmering, unsettling tableau. Within it, suspended and undeniably alive, is a chimpanzee's brain and its intricate network of nerves, connected to a bewildering maze of interface codes and wires, all leading back to the imposing H server, its silent hum filling the suddenly hushed hall. The entire scene is described as bizarre, unsettling, and revolutionary, a stark physical manifestation of an impossible dream made real.
Wow. Okay, so he shows them a living chimp brain in a jar.
Essentially, yes. Doctor then moves to a live demonstration, stepping with deliberate calm towards the humming server. He taps quickly on a connected laptop, his fingers flying across the keys. With a few swift commands, he uploads real-time visual information of the auditorium, captured from the server's internal camera, directly into the chimpanzee's brain.
So the chimp brain is seeing the audience.
That's the implication. He then activates a complex brainwave-to-human language translator, a small screen above the H server, flickering to life. And then the translated voice echoes through the hall, a strange, high-pitched primate sound transformed uncannily into human words, reverberating from the speakers. Ukiki, ukikiki, ukikiki, what? I was in front of a banana tree.
No way, it spoke.
The translator did. The audience is first stunned into absolute silence, then erupts in a cacophony of gasps, murmurs, and bewildered applause, reacting like children at a circus, their disbelief giving way to astonishment. While some resistance is noted, a few dissenting voices, the sheer undeniable impact of the demonstration is absolute, cementing his victory.
I can only imagine the reaction. But what about the ethics? Doctor then turns, addressing the inevitable ethical and moral concerns, particularly from the religious attendees, whose murmurs he had undoubtedly anticipated. In a cynical twist that reveals the true depths of his manipulative genius, he claims to be a devout Christian and recounts a fabricated story, admitting internally to himself that it's a complete lie, invented on the spot to pacify and persuade.
A lie.
Completely. He privately muses on the insidious, manipulative power of this simple emotional story. Humanity is drawn to the stimulating and the unusual, he thinks, observing the captivated faces in the audience, realizing that most, even those initially resistant, will accept and even fund his work based on this carefully constructed, fabricated tale. His final internal thought, a chilling revelation, exposes the true, complex character of a brilliant mind driven not by altruism, but by profound cynicism and perhaps a deep-seated, desperate desire to escape the very world he so masterfully manipulates. I'm sick of it. I want to escape this world.
And just like that, with a profound, disorienting temporal shift, the narrative transports us. The narrative voice feels different, distant, yet undeniably connected. A voice, disembodied and ancient, asks the narrator, who we now understand as the Dr. M or some ultimate evolved form of him, if he perceives his own existence. He confirms that he does, of course, perceive his existence, but then comes the struggle, the haunting inability to recall his own name, the very personal identifier he once held so dear. My name is, he trails off, the thought dissolving, unable to complete the thought.
He forgot his name.
Seems so. Yet he instinctively knows his title, a resonant, powerful truth deep within his fragmented being. I am, I exist. The ancient, powerful word echoing in the vastness of this new reality.
The voice then describes the narrator in a series of enigmatic, contradictory statements. I am forgotten by all, yet desired by all. I was in the same position as you, but now I am higher and lower. I am desired by humanity, yet rejected by humanity. The whole, yet apart.
What does it even mean?
It's incredibly cryptic. It raises a truly profound question that hangs in the air of this far future. Who is this voice speaking to him, this oracle of lost time? And what does it mean to be both the encompassing whole of existence and merely a fragmented part of it? The narrator himself desperately tries to trace back burnt, forgotten traces of his own distant past, a past that seems to be slipping away, dissolving into the cosmic fabric, even as he asserts his divine title.
And then, a truly shocking and disorienting new reality is revealed, shattering any lingering sense of familiarity. The voice provides a new, utterly alien date, a temporal marker that seems to defy all conventional understanding. Currently, FD 169 10.12 Thea, age 2, Noah.
FD Thea, Noah, what?
FD, he wonders, the abbreviation foreign and unsettling. Does this mean after the death of Gregoria, he speculates, grasping at ancient, half-remembered histories? Thea, he questions, a name evoking primordial chaos. And then his new name, given by this enigmatic voice, is revealed. Noah.
Noah, like the Ark.
Maybe. He quickly asserts his newfound power, though, a hint of his old doctor showmanship still present, a flicker of his past personality. Ha, he laughs, a sound that resonates with cosmic authority. I can part the sea, but I can also walk on water, fly, and engage in politics. No is not appropriate. This manner of speaking is bothersome, but the superior sensation isn't bad. He has the power of a deity, yet shapes in a human name.
But this immediate assertion of power quickly gives way to a profound existential crisis, a fundamental unraveling of self. Noah asks for the AD date of his past, AD 2048, a year that, to us, is still in the future.
And the voice.
The voice pauses, confused, a digital ripple in the cosmic silence. It cannot determine what AD is, it says, requesting more information, unable to access such ancient temporal markers. Noah is left grappling with the terrifying question, is this voice ignorant, or have I forgotten so much?
He doesn't know his own history.
Exactly. He questions how he can possibly know the history of the whole, the grand cosmic narrative, when his own personal history is so unclear, so profoundly fractured. He concludes with a chilling resignation. Though I said I was the whole, I am but a part. Though I am but a part, I am but that whole. He realizes he only knows that part of the whole and that part of the whole, a partial, fragmented understanding of himself and the universe.
So he's incomplete.
Seems so. The voice, in its infinite wisdom, accepts Noah's limited, fractured understanding, then requests, with a quiet urgency, to hear that part of the whole and that part of the whole, implying that the very narrative Noah is about to recount, his retelling of self, is the saga we have just heard, starting from AD 2048, the year he remembers as his beginning.
Wow. It brings our entire deep dive full circle. hinting at an eternal, perhaps inescapable loop of creation, loss, and the unending retelling of self. A cycle of being born, dying, and being reborn into a new, fragmented identity. We've journeyed through humanity's desperate yearning for control over life and death, witnessed the quiet, often heartbreaking resilience of care in the face of profound decline, and peered into a far future where consciousness itself can be engineered, extracted, and perhaps even fractured.
It's been quite the ride.
From Alberto Guija's deeply philosophical struggles with the loss of God and the fear of his own mortality, to Doctor's grand, audacious, and deeply cynical ambitions for Project Eternity, and finally to the enigmatic Noah, wrestling with a fragmented identity and lost history across unfathomable stretches of time. It's a saga of humanity pushing its own boundaries, reaching for something beyond the natural order.
And this leaves us with a truly profound question to ponder long after this deep dive concludes. What does it truly mean to be you when your physical body, your cherished memories, even the very era you inhabit, can become a malleable construct, a digital echo?
Right, when the self is no longer tied to the original form.
If the self can persist beyond flesh, if it can claim the title of God, yet struggle to recall its own name, its own origin, does immortality come at the ultimate, devastating cost of identity? This deep dive into the conflict between God and humanity leaves us with the unsettling yet captivating thought. As we relentlessly reach for eternity, driven by our deepest desires, are we truly preserving ourselves, or simply creating an echo of what once was, trapped in an endless, perhaps lonely loop of self-discovery and perpetual forgetting?